Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, Mom keeps trying to one-up me? My 21F friend, 19F, decided to double book our kid's birthday. My 25M mother, 60F, sulks at me and it makes me feel guilty. How do I stop this? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Mom keeps trying to one-up me? Hello everyone. I, 25F, need some advice to see if I'm overreacting about the below situations. My mom and I have had a rocky relationship ever since I started college and spread my wings. I never was wild or did drugs or anything like that, but I think she disliked that she couldn't control me anymore since I was homeschooled since kindergarten. Below are some things in the last few months that have me wondering if she's insulting my lifestyle. Please give me your thoughts. 1. She bought a new washer and dryer set and it broke within a few months. Now she's inquiring about my washer and dryer set. We have a Samsung set and wants to try it out. But this entire time, she's saying that she's worried to buy any other brand than the one she had before because she thinks they're all fads that the younger generation likes. When she's saying it in a tone that implies the younger generation doesn't know anything about quality or good products. She has insulted the Samsung washer and dryer sets a few times as well, but it's really based on nothing. My set is now 3 years old and it hasn't ever given me an issue. 2. My husband and I traveled quite extensively last year. Nothing exotic or overseas, but it was a lot for us and we went to a lot of unique places in the US. After every trip we took, they scheduled a trip to Disney. They never traveled there so much, and I don't care where they go of course, but it was just odd that after every single trip we took, they scheduled a trip. 3. During one of their trips to Disney they stayed at the same hotel we stayed at. The hotel was neither expensive nor cheap, just average. We had a great experience there and had no complaints. As soon as they got back from their trip, my mom complained about what a terrible resort it was and now she felt out of place there. Not sure what she was implying, but it just felt insulting the way she was saying it, as if we were those type of people who enjoy crappy places. 4. We went to a friend's house for New Year's Eve instead of going to their house or staying home. We didn't drink or anything, and who cares if we did? My sister has my location, so I guess she saw we were at the friend's house and she apparently told my mom. I got a call the next day asking where we were, what we were doing, who the friend was, what he does for work, etc. I thought this was strange considering we are gross adults. 5. My husband and I are moving to FL this summer, something they always wanted to do but never did because they don't want to sacrifice the size of their house. Her words, not mine. She keeps complaining about how my dad never did anything for the family and how they will be stuck here for the rest of their lives, etc. Then I ask her why they didn't take other opportunities to move to FL. My dad has been offered multiple jobs there, and she said that she's afraid of the snakes. There's always an excuse. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting to this all, or if it's actually valid feelings. Thank you for reading such a long post. Please give me your opinions if you have any. You have a lot to unpack here. Bottom line, you owe her nothing. If you acknowledge the one-upping, she'll keep doing it. Make your move, live your life, and only tell her what you want to tell her. My mom never calls people, she just seems to kind of expect people to call her. So, I stopped calling her. She notices and calls me every few months, all because I stopped giving her what she wants. Also, stop sharing your location with anyone but your husband. You can always change it if you go on a trip or something, but no one else needs to know where you are, and you and your husband get to decide together if it need to share it at all. You're an adult and you're allowed to make your own choices and live the way you want to live. You gotta live your life, bro. Jealous people will always be jealous. It sounds like she's trying to keep up with the Joneses with you and your husband as a form of if it's to get closer or to compete with you. I'd ask her if she feels left out, because I'd rather blame it on maternal loneliness than malice. But it could very well be malice, and if it is, you need to cut contact before it tries to poison your marital joy. There is no way that you can change your mom. Limit what you tell your parents, and flip your mom's questions around to her or deflect them. Next time they ask you where you stayed, respond by saying that based on the past, the two of you have different choice in accommodations, so they should find their own. In the future, if they want to try out your appliances, let her know that you do not accept the judgment of young people, so she should talk to friends who are her age. When she asks where you were the previous evening, ask her how old she thinks that you are. If she continues, ask her why she needs to know where you were. Do not budge on not answering her, and keep turning it around on her. Also, who cares what they do? Live your life and allow her to continue living like a teenager who needs to compete with friends to be popular. Also, your sister should not be able to locate your phone. Remove her access. My 21F friend, 19F, decided to double book our kid's birthday. My 21F friend, 19F, and I have children whom were born pretty close together. Last year they celebrated with a joint birthday party, but this year we decided to let them have their own special day. My friend, let's call her Kate, not her actual name, confirmed that her child's birthday would be on the 5th of the month and it would be a dinosaur theme. I took that into account and did a completely opposite theme for my child to ensure they could have their own birthday fun, etc. Anyways, I decided to book my child's party for the 9th of the month as it was the best for us and meant my child's friends would make it. Before I created or sent out invites, I called up Kate and asked her to confirm her child's party date and double-checked that our date wasn't going to clash. This was discussed multiple times over the phone and in person. Well, I've come to find that she has changed the date to the day of my child's party, her excuse being that she wasn't aware of the date, even though she has a physical invite and has seemed to be acknowledging in every conversation regarding the party. She is refusing to change the date as it is the date that works best for me and my son. I feel as though it was done on purpose, and I'm upset that my child was not considered when she did this like hers was. I booked that date out first and she knew of it. Am unable to move my child's party as we won't be around for the 10th and it is a school week. We also wanted to be able to have her actual birthday as a family day without stress of other children running around. This is the 3rd time she's changed the date. Each time it got closer to the 9th. Am I the entitled parent here? No. Just have a wonderful party, since you sent invites out first. Whether you have 24 people or 2 people, make it a day to remember. I don't think I would want this type of friend around my child. Sorry, but let your child make other friends and leave this person alone. She sounds catty and immature, not a friend. No, you're not. And why are you still friends with her again? My 25M mother, 60F, sulks at me and it makes me feel guilty. How do I stop this? Hello. I'd like to explain my situation. I'm 25, male, and have 2 parents who are still married. I had a relatively peaceful childhood, but I think I suffer from my parents' dysfunctional parenting style. In fact, I think I have 2 emotionally immature parents. Today's message is about my mother's parenting style. She's about to turn 60, and we're relatively close to each other. I'm a university student in a demanding program that requires me to cut down on social events. As for my mother, she's always wanted to put her children first, which is why she's remained a stay-at-home mom, which I loved. On the other hand, I think she has prioritized her children too much to the detriment of her personal growth. She wants to hear from me at least once a week by phone and see me as often as possible. Since I live 2H00 from her home, I can't go and see her very often, once a month or every 2 months. On several occasions, she blamed me for distancing myself from her, when in reality I didn't even have time for myself and hardly any time to eat. She seems to have difficulty understanding my situation and often blames me for the lack of attention I give her. I've had a good talk with her so that she understands that I'm doing my best and that she also needs to think about herself and develop her interests to stop waiting for her children's attention. I'm not a child who necessarily wants to see my parents often. I'm quite independent, and I've never felt that I could rely on my parents to help me in difficult situations. When I was a child, I found myself alone with my problems because when I spoke to my parents about them, my father wouldn't listen to me or my mother seemed to trivialize the situation. So I grew up, and with age, I simply learned to rely on myself. So today, I don't think of calling them to tell them about my day or to talk about myself because they never let me do that when I was young. So when I call them, I find myself in a listening situation, like a psychologist listening to his client, which I don't feel like doing after my day. Because of this, I'm criticized for not sharing my life with them or calling them often enough. But when I do, my father continues not to listen to me and only talks about himself, and my mother doesn't seem so interested or understanding of my events that I share with her. This week was my college break. My mother knew this and hoped I would come to see her during my vacation. I preferred to see my childhood friend, whom I hadn't seen for several months, so as not to lose sight of him. On top of that, due to financial difficulties, I had to work. I wrote a message to my mother yesterday, and I think she's sulking. She's online and doesn't reply to non-messages, which is contrary to her habit. She tends to reply as soon as she receives a message. When she was young, she used to make me feel guilty by sulking for several days, even 1 week, because of some behavior that might have hurt her that I didn't know about. I already explained to her that I preferred her to name her emotions instead of sulking. Even now, I feel she's manipulating me in this way in order to give her attention and affection. I don't know how to get rid of this feeling of guilt. Have you been in a situation like mine? What to do about it? If you've read this far, thank you so much for taking the time to read my novel. As someone on a similar situation, let her sulk. It literally doesn't affect you at all. See how long it takes for her to realize it. Pretend you don't notice and just act as if everything is fine, because if there were a problem, surely an adult like her would be able to communicate it rather than sulking like a teenager. Get on and do what you want to do. They will either get on board or talk to you less. Either is fine. At some point, they will have to realize that you are an adult and start to treat you differently. Allowing their playing up to affect how you behave is just delaying that day. You've done enough to try and explain your situation. Just like you explained yourself here, you can send her a message why you don't share your day-to-day life with her and why you can't come. Tell her she's a grown woman, so you hope she understands your commitments. It's time for you to live your life. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.